Wala nga. Okey, sige. So, ayan, we'll be having cost centers in this segment, ano, or in this decentralization. We have the profit center and also we have the investment center. Yeah. So, in cost center, a segment whose manager has control over costs but not over revenues or investment funds. So, a cost center has its manager. Ano, of course, that is the cost center manager, wherein this manager has the control over the cost, meaning uh, what the activities being conducted of the people under this cost center, ang ini-incur lang nila is cost, ano. So wala silang control over the revenues and investment funds, meaning their activities uh, could not provide revenues in most cases, ano, and absolutely wala rin silang control do'n sa investment funds, 'no. But at some point, ayun, kaya sabi ko, so in most cases, but in some point, this cost center could provide or indirectly contribute to revenue generation. So indirectly, ano, later on, bakit sinabi nating nakakapag-contribute din sila sa revenue generation. Just to give some of these call centers, we have the service departments, ano, such as the accounting. So, since they are under service departments, ano kasama nila, customer service team, IT department, si maintenance, si research and development or the R&D, sino pa? Recruitment, ano, general admin, the legal, ayan. Sila yung kadalasang nasa part ng cost center, ano, kasi again, in performing their activities, in their duties, they are just incurring cost. And this group of people, ano, ay wala ring control doon sa ating investment funds. Although most of them do not contribute to the revenue, kaya wala rin silang control sa revenue kasi nga puro cost lamang yung in-incur nila. But then again, these activities have to be conducted, they have to be done, ano, in relation to the operation. So, mostly hindi sila nagge-generate ng revenue, but at some point they can indirectly contribute to generating or to the revenue generation, ano. Ayan. Papaano sila nakakapag-generate? So since they are incurring costs, they can have projects, ano, initiatives wherein they can minimize their cost, ano. Ayan. Basing dun sa standards, for example, ng mga consumptions or mga budgets, they could have these projects or initiatives wherein they can cut costs, they can minimize costs. And in effect, since they are lowering or minimizing their cost, 'di ba, when we compute for the net profit or net operating income, we have the um, what do you call that? The revenue, ano? Ayan, the sales, for example, less yung ating variable cost or less yung ating mga expenses, saka pa tayo nagkakaroon ng net profit, ano? Thus, if this cost center of this or these departments under this cost center are saving, ano, if they are making some cost cutting, if they are minimizing their cost as they perform their duties and activities, therefore, in that way, nakaka-contribute sila sa pag-generate ng income, ano, higher income, kasi nalo-lower nila yung expenses. Okay? Then we have the profit center. So, ano naman yung difference to profit center? Just similar to the cost center, ano, si profit center, wala rin siyang control sa investment funds, ano, ayan. But the profit center has control on both cost and revenues, ano. So meron silang na-incur na cost as they perform the revenue generating activities, ano, ayan. So siyempre may mga paggastos sila diyan sa operation. But then again, meron din silang control do'n sa revenue kasi nga sila yung nagge-generate ng revenue kaya sila ay profit center, ayan. Pero katulad nga nung na-mention ko, wala pa rin silang control doon sa investment funds. So ano yung example ng mga 'to? We have the retail stores, ano ba, restaurants, cafeteria, for example, and the manufacturing sectors, ano. So they are, profit center. Gano'n lang kadali Then we have the investment center, yan. So this is a segment whose manager has control over these three, ano, the cost, the revenues, and the investments. Ayan, so, um, ayun, ano yung investment center manager natin is being evaluated with the ROI or using the so-called ROI or the return on investment. Ayan. Opo, maaari rin naman they are being evaluated using the residual income which will be discussed later on ano, in this chapter. And an example of this investment center could be ayan, yung corporate headquarters natin. We have also the financing arm or the financing department of the organization. They are part of this investment center natin tinatawag. Ayan. So, between the three, among the three centers, we have this investment center which has control over this cost, revenues, and investments. So, ayan, we have decentralization and segment reporting. A segment is any part or activity of an organization about which a manager seeks cost, revenue, or profit data. Ayan, so yung segment nating tinutukoy, sabi din, could be any part or any part or activity of an organization. So, for example, we have this mother unit, mother company, ano, and let's say yung San Miguel Corporation. So, below this San Miguel Corporation as a mother company, meron siyang mga business unit. Ayan. So, yung mga bawat business unit na yan uh, could be classified as segment. Ano, ayan. So, meron siyang umbrella ni packaging, ano, meron siya ng kay food, meron siya ng kay power industry, for example, meron din kay transportation, ano. So, these business units can be classified as segments, ano, if we are talking of the organization. Ano. Also, pwede rin namang ma-classify as segment yung mga products natin, mga product line. For example, meron tayong segment doon sa ating mina-manufacture, meron tayong ah, ano ba, gadgets, ano. So, meron tayong maaring tablet, tapos we also have the product like cellphone, ano. Yan. So, yun yung maaari nating i-classify naman as segment, ano, per product naman. Yan. Then meron tayo dito mine-mention na sales territory. No? So, madali maintindihan sa individual store, service center. So, si sales territory, ito yung designated geographical area or group of customers wherein yun yung assigned to a sales team. Ano? Ayan. Sales team or to a sales individual na tawag dito, na yun yung magiging focus niya, ano, yun yung area ng kanyang activity, ng kanyang trabaho. For example, sino nandiyan? Si Mr. Matthew, ano, Mr. Matthew is part of the sales team, let's say San Miguel Corporation or San Miguel Brewery to be more specific, ano. So ang kanyang area is the sige, Batangas City na lang. Medyo malaki na rin ang Batangas City, ano. Wala, single lone district ng Batangas City, ano, since city na siya. So, Batangas City, ayan. So, yung lahat nung activities niya is pertaining to this sales territory niya kay Batangas City lang. Ano, kung may warehouse siya doon, edi meaning yung i-cater ng warehouse niya is para doon sa area niya kay Batangas City. Now, if Miss Isabella Nicole is also a part of the sales team under the San Miguel Brewery, for example, hindi na niya pwedeng maging parang hindi na siya pwede mag-penetrate dito sa Batangas City. Since yung Batangas City nga is the sales territory na ni ni Matthew, ano. Since parehas silang galing sa part ng San Miguel Group, ng San Miguel Brewery, isang company, hindi sila puwedeng, magsama do'n sa isang sales territory. Of course, si Miss Isabella Nicole could be having her own sales territory, let's say sa area ng Bawan, ano, or kung yung mga nearby, municipalities ng Bawan, puwedeng yun ang kanyang sales territory. Ayun, yung sinasabi nating sales territory. Whereas, halimbawa naman si Mister Matibag ay sales part naman ng sales team but coming from the, tawag dito, competitor of San Miguel Brewery, let's say Asia Brewery, ano, si Asia Brewery is the direct competitor of San Miguel Brewery, ano. Puwede siya doon sa territory ni Mister Maala sa Batangas City if that is his sales territory, ano. Puwede sila magkasama sa isang sales territory as competitors, of course. Kasi they're coming from different businesses naman, ano, from different companies and actually they are competitors. So, the territory of Mr. Maala could be the territory of Mr. Matibag as well, ano. Yun nga lang yung dalawang parehas na galing sa iisang company, hindi puwedeng maging, parang hindi puwedeng sakupin ng isang kasama mo yung territory mo or sales territory, ano, yun lang yun. Okay. So there are two keys to building segmented income statements. First, contribution format should be used because it separates fixed from variable costs and it enables the calculation of contribution margin. Maalala nyo, sa chapter 6, I guess, ano, we had this contribution format ng ating income statement wherein we were able to have our contribution margin identified by having our, what do you call that, sales or revenue. Ano, from there, we deducted this variable cost or variable expenses. Ano, we have the fixed and variable costs separated. Ano, and having that separated, we were able to deduct the variable cost doon sa ating sales or sa ating revenue. And from that, we had our contribution margin. Ano, ayan. And sa, di ba nga, para ma-compute yung ating net operating income from the contribution margin, since separated natin yung fixed cost sa variable cost, ayan, saka pa natin i-deduct yung ating fixed expense or fixed cost dun sa CM for us to get the net operating income. Okay? Also, traceable fixed costs should be separated from common fixed costs to enable the calculation of a segment margin. So we will be computing also for the segment margin, wherein we will be required to separate this traceable fixed cost doon sa ating common fixed cost. Later on, we will be discussing ano ba yung traceable at ano ba yung common fixed cost. At ito na yun. So traceable costs arise because of the existence of a particular segment and would disappear over time if the segment itself disappeared. Ayan. So traceable cost siya, meaning we just have this cost dahil lamang sa existence ng isang or ng particular segment natin. Ano? Sabi natin yung segment, it could be a product, it could be a part of the organization, it could be part of the process or of an activity. Ano? So for this example, we have the computer division. Ano, kung wala tayong computer division, it means wala rin tayong computer division manager. Having a separate business department would require a manager to lead. Ano, therefore, kung meron ka nito na computer division, magkakailangan naman ng computer division manager. Ano? Meaning, yung cost natin for the computer division manager, yung kanyang salary, which is cost, it is classified as traceable cost. Ano, traceable siya dito sa computer division. Anong ibig sabihin nga ulit? Kapag wala 'to, wala din yung ating computer division manager. So, ang existence ni computer division manager, yung cost na akibat niya ay nakadepende sa existence nitong segment na 'to, which is the computer division, ano. And the like would be classified as traceable cost. So, ano-ano pa yung mga, ah, sinasabing traceable cost or example, ano, we have yung Ano 'to? Wait lang, tama naman, ayun. Yung salary of a staff who work directly in a specific region. So another example, we have, um, put up a workhouse, a warehouse, let's say in Ibaan, ano, Ibaan, Batangas kasi nakita, sa Ibaan, alak na alak yung mga tao dun at gustong-gusto nila yung gin bilog, ano. And to cater their needs properly, ano, para walang ma-miss na opportunities, sige maglagay na ako dun ng ano, ng warehouse, sabi ni GSMI, ni Ginebra San Miguel, ano. Mag-put up na ako ng warehouse dun. So that warehouse for Ibaan can be classified as segment, ano. Ayan, so segment din siya. Now, if we have this, warehouse, ano, so meron tayo diyang mga staff, ano, meron diyang warehouse manager perhaps, may warehouse supervisor, kung di man manager meron kang supervisor, meron kang mga staff para sa warehouse na yun who will work on that segment, ano. Now, along with that, with those staff siyempre may pasweldo sila, ano, may salary and that is cost. So, cost siya na maka-classify natin as traceable cost doon, traceable siya doon sa specific segment which is the warehouse. Kaya nagkaroon ng gano'ng cost dahil nagkaroon tayo ng segment, ano, which is the warehouse. Now, kung mawawala yung warehouse, yung segment na warehouse dun sa ibaan, kung aalisin natin, mawawala na ulit yung mga tao na yun. Therefore, mawawala din yung mga traceable cost na yun or yung mga cost na yun. Okay? Kaya siya classified as traceable. Ayun. Then we have the common fixed costs. Yan. So common costs arise because of the overall operation of the company and would not disappear if any particular segment were eliminated. So on contrary naman doon kay traceable cost, ano, so kahit pa mawala yung segment, yung ating common cost still andyan pa rin, ano, hindi siya ma-eliminate, ano. So for example, balikan natin 'tong computer division, for a particular organization or business, kung nagkaroon si computer division, meron tayong computer manager, ano, computer division manager, and that is traceable. And at the same time, of course, we have the company president. Now, kung mawala si computer division, mawawala yung computer division manager, pero si company president andyan pa rin, hindi siya mawawala. No? Therefore, the cost incurred para dito kay company president is common cost. Ano? Kasi hindi siya dependent doon sa existence ng isang segment, ano, like ni computer division. So nandiyan man o mawala man si computer division, andiyan yung ating cost particular to the company president. Naintindihan? Okay, ayun. So what are the other examples of these common fixed costs? So we can include as part of the common costs or common fixed costs yung ating depreciation. Ano? Yan. So depreciation kasi, for example, meron tayong mga idagdag na segments o may alisin diyan, yung depreciation natin for let's say for our equipment, andiyan pa rin, ano, hindi mo maiiwasan na na-consider yung depreciation o hindi natin maiwasan na ma-incur yung depreciation cost, maalis man o mawala yung particular segments, ano. Similarly, yung ating amortization, insurance, ano pa, we have the rental expenses if we do some renting, ano, property taxes, expenses for the utilities, together with the expenses with the interest, ano, if we do have our loans, meron siyang interest expense, so common cost din siya ika-classify. Salaries, of course, ano, common cost din siya, ano. Next, we have the segment margin. Kanina sabi natin, hindi, residual income pala yun. Contribution margin saka segment margin. Now, the segment margin which is computed by subtracting the traceable fixed costs of a segment from its contribution margin. So, after having our contribution margin, so we have the revenue less our variable expenses. So from there, we will be having contribution margin. Now, this segment margin, will be computed by subtracting the traceable fixed cost doon sa ating contribution margin. Again, ang ile-less lang natin diyan is the traceable fixed cost, no? So kapag ang dineduct natin diyan is the total fixed cost, ang magkakaroon tayo ay net operating income, no? Pero kapag ang dineduct lang natin diyan is traceable fixed cost, so magkakaroon tayo ng segment margin. And sabi diyan, this segment margin is the best gauge for the long run profitability of a segment. Okay? Ayan. Kasi the higher the segment margin is the better or the more profitable yung ating segment. Okay. So traceable and common cost, yan, sabi diyan, do not allocate common cost to segments. Bakit? Kasi kapag inallocate natin yung ating common cost to segments, what would happen? If this common cost or if this cost would be allocated to segments, what would happen? Yung cost na yon would be classified as traceable. Ano, 'di ba sabi natin yung mga traceable costs ay associated dun sa ating segments. So kapag nagkaroon ng segments, meron tayong traceable cost. Pag nawala yung segments, mawawala yung traceable cost. Ano? Now, if this common cost will be part of the segments or will be allocated to segments, so this will not be the common cost. Ano, magiging traceable siya. Now, kapag traceable na siya, siya na yung i-deduct natin doon sa ating contribution margin. Ayan. And if that happens, ano, yung segment margin natin, lalaki yung ating traceable fixed cost. Kapag dineduct natin siya sa contribution margin, bababa yung ating segment margin. Sabi natin, the segment margin gauges the long run profitability of a segment. Okay? Now, if we'll be having higher traceable fixed cost dahil inallocate natin itong common fixed cost natin as doon sa segments and that made it traceable, so papangit o bababa na yung ating segment margin. Ano? Ayan. Next, we have the activity-based costing or ABC, ano, yung similar to what we have discussed na ABC. Sabi diyan, activity-based costing can help identify how costs shared by more than one segment are traceable to individual segments. Ayan. So, gaya ng na-mention ko kanina, these segments can be also yung mga product line natin. Ano, if we have different product lines, pwede siyang i-classify or naka-classify din siya as segments aside from the business units or business divisions, ano, or part of the activities. So pwede rin si product lines classified as segments. Yan. Pakibabasa nga muna nung tawag dyan, yun nandyan. Luella.
Assume that three products, 9-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch pipe, share 10,000 square feet of warehousing space, which is leased at a price of $4 per square foot. If the 9-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch pipes occupy 1,000, 4,000, and 5,000 square feet, respectively, then ABC can be used to trace the warehousing cost to the three products as shown.
Okay, thank you. Ayan, so sabi dyan, activity-based costing can help us identify how costs are shared by more than one segment. Ano? So, we have there the warehousing space. Of course, when we have warehousing space, we have the warehousing expense or cost. Ano? So, how these three segments, yan, may tatlo tayong segments, share this cost. Ano? So, hindi siya yung tipo na, okay, meron tayong tatlong product, as we compute for the share of these three product lines, divide na lang natin sa tatlo yung ating warehousing cost. So, hindi siya ganun. Ano? Ang ginagawa natin, kinukuha natin halos yung ratio and proportion. Actually, yun yung talaga yun. Ano? So sabi diyan, we have 9-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch pipe. Yun yung ating product lines. So meron siyang 10,000 square feet yung warehouse. So for this 10,000 square feet, the business is expensed at magkano ba? 40,000 ano, dahil $4 per square foot. So, 10,000 multiplied by 4, that would be 40,000 square foot. Sorry, $40,000 ano, in total. So, uh, additional info, excuse, the 9-inch occupies one, excuse lang ha, wait lang. Sorry, inubo lang. Okay. So 9-inch occupies, or the 9-inch pipe occupies 1,000 square feet of this warehouse. 12-inch occupies 4,000 square feet, and the 18-inch pipes occupy 5,000 square feet. So with the aid of ABC, we will be now tracing the warehousing costs to these products. Ano? Ayan. So meron ka ditong 9-inch, 1,000 square feet. So yung leasing price to be multiplied by $4 per square foot. So you got $4,000 dollars for the 9-inch. Then for 12-inch, that would be 4,000 multiplied by 4. That is 16,000. And for 18-inch, 5,000 square feet na occupancy, um, multiplied by 4, that would be $20,000. In total, you have 10,000 square feet leased. Ano, then we have the total cost of $40,000. So hindi natin dinivide yung 40,000 by 3 products or into 3 products para sa kanilang warehousing cost. Ano? So kinuha natin yung portion na ino-occupy ng bawat product doon sa total space. And then minultiply natin by rate, ano, which is $4 per square foot. Ayan. So if we would be computing separately for let's say, segment income statement, so yung ating warehousing expense for 9-inch would be ito, 4,000. Ano? For 18-inch, it would be 20,000. So, as you can see, this is almost the ratio and proportion, di ba? 1:4:5 para dun sa total nating warehousing space, ano? Yun yung ratio ng ating space para doon sa tatlong product. So ganun din nahati yung ating warehousing cost. Ano? So 4:16:20. So that is also 1:4:5. Okay? So mapapansin nyo, 10% nung space ay tawag doon, occupied by the 9-inch. In the same manner, 10% of the total warehousing cost ay naka-allocate or naka 9-inch, 4,000. At gano'n din naman yung dalawa. Kasi you have to compute for this kasi hindi naman siya ibibigay sa'yo ng lessor mo, ano. Yan. Kapag tawag do'n, nag-bill sa'yo si lessor, that would be the total of 40,000 regardless kung ano ba inilagay mo diyan, ano. Kung may laman ba o wala yung warehouse mo, since you have the contract, so 40,000, kung 40,000 yung babayaran mo per month ba yan or per year, wala na mention, ano. So yun yung babayaran mo. Pero hindi yung siya pa magko-compute, dahil meron kang laman kay 9-inch, nakakalaman na sa 9-inch 1,000, etong computation. Hindi. Hindi siya magko-compute. So you have to know how to do it through this ABC or activity-based costing. Okay, so return on investment or ROI, kanina na-mention ko, no? Kay investment center, no, si investment center manager, its performance is being evaluated through this ROI or return on investment. Ayan. So this ROI is defined as the net operating income divided by average operating assets. Ayan. So we have here the net operating income, that is the income before interest or the earnings before the interest, kaya EBIT, before the interest and taxes. So hindi pa natin ile-less sa net operating income yung taxes and interest. So kung ano yung na-compute natin after having the sales minus the the variable cost and the fixed cost, that would be the net operating income na gagamitin natin to compute for the ROI or return on investment. Hindi pa ibabawas si interest at si taxes, okay? And then we have the average operating assets as our denominator. So that includes yung ating cash, AR or accounts receivables, the inventory, the plant and equipment, and the other productive assets. Okay? So that would be the computation for the ROI. You know? And for the business, the good ROI is around 7% yan, annually, or kung anumang tawag dito, period yung nako-cover as you compute for the ROI. Some are computing it semi-annually, but most of the organizations have this computed annually or per year. Ayan. So if you are to compute and you are to determine whether good ba o not performing well yung inyong business, so the good ROI is 7%, 10% is uh, higher enough, then that is better. And if you got more than 10%, edi mas maigi. Ano? Yan. So that would be net operating income divided by average operating assets. Of course, to have the percentage multiplied by 100%. Ano? So, with that, ito na yung ating ROI computation. So, we have this margin, which is equal to net operating income divided by sales. And then we have the turnover. So, that turnover is the total amount of revenue generated by the business. Ano? Yan. So, it can be computed as sales divided by average operating assets. And as you can see, when we multiply margin and turnover, no, yan, when we multiply these two, yung sales sa denominator nito would be canceled out with the sales dito sa denominator. At ang matitira sa atin is net operating income divided by average operating assets, which is ito. Ano? Ayan, which is the ROI. Therefore, multiplying these two, that would also give us ROI. So, just in case you are asked to compute for the ROI and this net operating income and average operating assets are not available, but you do have the values for margin and turnover, then you can compute for the ROI as margin times turnover. Ano? Okay, there are three ways to increase ROI. Sabi natin, the higher the ROI, the better. Actually, yan din yung tinitingnan ng mga most of the investors. Yung return on investment, of course, ayaw mong ilagak or invest yung pera mo sa business na ang baba ng ROI, yung tipo ang tagal bumalik sa'yo. Kasi sa ROI, nakbase din yung rate of return. Gaano ba kabilis sa akin babalik yung aking investment? Parang in 1 year ba or in 2 years, in 3 years ba, babalik na ba yan sa akin? So that yung mga susunod na taon, puro revenue ko na, puro interest ko na. Ayan. So, to increase ROI, first, we have to increase sales. So, balikan natin yung formula. Ayan. Ito na lang sa net operating income. Wala. Ayan. To increase the ROI, sabi diyan, we have to increase sales. Most probably. Ayan. Most of the time, ganun talaga magiging effect ni increase in sales. But not at all times. Ayan. Possible kasi na tumaas yung ating sales pero hindi naman tumaas yung ating net income. Maaari kasi nung tumaas ang ating sales, mas malaki itinaas ng ating expenses. 'Di ba ang net income natin would be after deducting yung ating expenses doon sa sales. Saka pa lang natin makukuha yung ating net operating income. Kaya ko sinasabi na hindi porke tumaas yung ating sales, tataas na yung ating net operating income. Most probably ganun ang mangyari but not at all times. Ganun ang effect ng increase in sales. So, when we increase the sales, ayan, syempre tataas yung ating net operating income. Kung ang normal impact niya is to increase the net operating income, di tataas yung ating ROI. Kasi numerator natin si net operating income. The higher the numerator, the higher the ROI. Okay? Yan. Next, nawala. To increase the ROI, we can also reduce expenses. Ayan. So, how naman? Kasi, again, yung expenses natin, dinideduct natin sa sales. Siya yung nagli-limit doon sa ating net operating income. Ngayon, kung mababa lang at marireduce natin yung ating expenses, di tataas pa rin yung ating net operating income kasi liliit lamang yung ibabawas natin sa sales eh. Ano? And with that, ganun ulit, kung tataas yung ating net operating income by reducing sales, tataas din yung ating ROI. And lastly, we can reduce assets. Ano, yan. We can reduce assets for us to increase the ROI. Kasi, ayan, denominator natin yung average operating assets. Therefore, kung maliit lamang yung ating assets, maliit lang yung denominator, mataas yung ating ROI. Ano? They are inversely proportional. The higher the denominator, the lower itong ating value o yung ratio. Okay? Wait lang ha. Okay. Saan na tayo? Ruby? Yan. Again, these are the ways in increasing ROI or return on investment. So there are some criticisms regarding the ROI. Kindly read. Please read Miss Eliza May.
Criticism of ROI: in the absence of balanced scorecard, management may not know how to increase ROI. Managers often inherit many committed costs over which they have no control. Managers evaluated on ROI may reject profitable investment opportunities.
Okay, so ayan, these are the criticisms regarding the ROI. So next we have the residual income. Sabi natin instead of ROI, the managers of investment center, ano, the managers of investment centers are evaluated either ROI or residual income. So these two are different, ano, lalo na yan. Kitang-kita natin yung ating formula for residual income that is very different from the ROIs. So residual income is computed as net operating income less yung product ng average operating assets and minimum required rate of return. So as we compute for this residual income, the minimum ROR, itong rate of return shall be given naman. And so if you will be able to compute for the operating assets, ayun, makocompute na natin yung residual income. No? So sabi dyan, residual income encourages managers to make profitable investments that would be rejected by managers using ROI. Okay. So next we have the transfer price. Pakibasa nga ulit muna. Sino bang hindi pa yung gusto mawalaan to? Ayan, Miss Manigbas.
A transfer price is the price charged when one segment of a company provides goods or service to another segment of the company. The fundamental objective in setting transfer prices is to motivate managers to act in the best interest of the overall company.
Okay, so si transfer price, ayan, price charge when one segment of a company provides goods or services to another segment of the company. So, balikan natin si San Miguel Corporation, ano. So siya yung mother company of the different business units under this SMC. So, yung bawat business units, let's say yung San Miguel Packaging, yung glass packaging, business unit ni San Miguel Food, business unit ni San Miguel Brewery, magkakaiba kasi yan eh. San Miguel Food, of course, ang kanilang product ay yung mga nakikita yung mga karne, like yung mga hamon, hot dogs, ano pa. Ayun, lahat ng foods na product ni San Miguel. Tapos syempre brewery, yung alak, si packaging ay yung mga bote, etc. and the like. Then meron pang logistics, meron pa rin sila sa power, si Meralco, di marami. So yung mga business units na yun can be classified as segments. Now, alin yung transfer price? So, for example, si San Miguel Glass Business or San Miguel, yung glass manufacturing company ni San Miguel, nagpo-produce siya ng bote o isa sa kanyang customer ay si San Miguel Brewery. Kasi si San Miguel Brewery, ang product niya is mismong alak. So hindi naman siya nagma-manufacture ng bote niya, ng cups at ng kung ano pang kailangan niya para doon sa kanyang product. So what the San Miguel Brewery does is the San Miguel Brewery acquires yung mga packaging needs niya doon sa ibang business unit ni San Miguel, which is another segment. So kumuha siya ng bote kay San Miguel Glass, yung kanyang cup or yung kanyang tansan kay Metal Closure or kay MCLP kung tawagin. Then meron pa rin siyang crates, yung case na kinukuha niya kay Manila Plastics na another business unit ni San Miguel. So yun yung mga segments. Now, ano yung transfer price doon? So kapag si glass business nagbenta kay pangalan to, kay San Miguel Brewery, hindi naman niya to ibinebenta kung magkano lang yung naging expense niya to produce the product. For example, yung isang bote o per unit na lang tayo. Ang cost to produce ni San Miguel glass business is let's say 5 pesos para sa isang bote ng Red Horse, 1 liter Red Horse. So hindi naman niya ibebenta yan kay San Miguel Brewery ng 5 pesos lang din. Yung tipong break even lang. Yung tipong dahil sister company tayo, under lang tayo ng isang big corporation or big company. So yung product ko, ibebenta ko sa'yo kung magkano lamang yung naging expense ko. Hindi ganun yung nangyayari. So, meron tayo doon tinatawag na transfer price. So, pinapatungan niya to ng transfer price ni San Miguel Glass Business na nagiging part syempre ng kanyang income, net profit income. Ayun yung tinatawag nating transfer price. So, this is just possible for these segments. Transfer price yung tawag natin kapag doon sa segments within same company or within the same organization yung nagkakaroon ng transaction, as buying and as selling. Okay? So for example naman si San Miguel Glass, syempre magdi-deliver siya ng mga bote. Wala siya talagang truck na kanya, But meron si San Miguel Corporation na San Miguel Logistics. So si San Miguel Logistics naman more on services. So ano meron sa kanya? Meron siya mga delivery trucks na pinapaupahan sa mga San Miguel businesses din. Katulad kay San Miguel Glass. So, meron siyang wing type van, meron siyang trailer truck, kung anong kailanganin mo meron siya. So, siya yung bahala mag-transport ng mga bote papunta kay San Miguel Brewery. In the same manner, so hindi naman pwedeng presyohan lamang ni San Miguel Logistics si San Miguel Glass nang kung magkano lang yung expense niya. Bawa yung kurudo, yung maintenance, yung bayad sa driver, hindi ganun lang. Kung ang total nun is let's say 40,000 per travel, hindi naman 40,000 lamang din ang i-charge niya kay San Miguel Glass. Of course, lalagyan niya to ng patong or yung transfer price, Ayan. Kasi business siya, kailangan niya rin kumita. Okay? Naintindihan sa transfer price? Okay. So sabi rin diyan, the fundamental objective in setting transfer prices is to motivate managers to act in the best interest of the overall company. How? So, with this transfer price, no, imagine nyo kung walang transfer price na ipapatong, wala na idadagdag doon sa pagbebenta ni seller doon sa buyer. Kahit considering na iisa silang corporation, So anong possible na mangyari? So halimbawa si San Miguel Glass, meron siyang other customers aside from San Miguel Brewery. So ngayon, kung gusto ni San Miguel Glass na mas kumita, kasi yun naman talagang gusto ng mga businesses, mas malaking profit. Kung gustuhin niya mas kumita tapos wala kang transfer price within the segments, for other segments within the company, si San Miguel Glass hindi na niya gugustuhin magbenta o mag-provide ng products kay San Miguel Brewery. Tama ba? Tama ba? Parang ikaw, halimbawa nagbebenta ka, kung pagbebentahan mo yung kamag-anak mo at hindi mo patutubuan, di mas gusto mong mabenta yung product mo doon sa hindi mo kakilala na meron kang tubo. Tama ba? When you do business, ayan. So, ayun yung possible na mangyari. At ganoon din naman si San Miguel Logistics. Ay, hindi ko na dadalhin sa inyo mga truck ko. Magde-deliver na lamang to kala Unilever. Kailangan din ni Unilever, nila Coca-Cola ng mga trailer truck ko, ng mga wing type van ko. Sa kanila na lang, at least kikita ako. Ayan. So, yung possible na mangyari kung wala tayong transfer price within the segments in the organization. And with that, anong possible na mangyari? Maaring, of course, these other companies, yung companies within the organization, edi mapipilitin silang kumuha doon sa iba, sa external players. And most probably, mas mahal yung mga presyo nila. Ayun. So, maapektuhan pa rin yung company. And in overall, may effect din talaga sa pangkabuuan or the whole organization. Yan. Naintindihan? Okay. Anong oras na? Sige, tapusin lang natin to bago tayo magpahinga. 5 more slides para sa chapter 12. And as we finish this, we will take a pause and then we will proceed to chapter 13. Okay. There are three primary approaches to setting transfer prices. First, negotiated transfer prices. Second, transfers at the cost to the selling division. And then transfers at market price. Okay? Yan. Sige nga, kindly read. Pakibasa muna, Laika.
Negotiated transfer prices. A negotiated transfer price results from discussions between the selling and buying divisions. Advantages of negotiated transfer prices are they preserve the autonomy of the divisions, which is consistent with the spirit of decentralization. The managers negotiating the transfer price are likely to have much better information about the potential cost and benefits of the transfer than others in the company.
Okay, thank you. So, ayan, that is the negotiated transfer prices. So, under that, the, the the transfer price is a result of the discussions between the selling and buying division. So meron tayong tinatawag na selling and buying divisions. And from the word itself, alam niyo na kung sino si selling at si buying. Ayan. So we have this range of acceptable transfer prices. Ayan. Sabi diyan, the lower limit is determined by the selling division and the upper limit is determined by the buying division. This is regarding with the acceptable transfer prices. Ayan. So, ang maglilimita o magbibigay ng lower limit ay si selling division. Bakit? Kasi si selling division, dahil sila yung provider, sila yung nag-create ng product na kaya kailanganin ni buying division in the organization, mas alam nila kung magkano yung naging gastos, yung naging expense nila. Alam nila kung magkano naging expense nila to produce the product na i-offer nila kay buying division. Therefore, hindi pwedeng sabihin halimbawa kung ang naging expense ni selling division ay 10 pesos, for example, yung bote, 10 pesos per unit ng bote ang naging price, hindi pwedeng sabihin ni upper limit ay siya, ano na lang yan, 8 pesos na lang dahil magka-sister company naman tayo. Under one umbrella lang naman tayo. So hindi siya magbibigay ng ganung limit as lower limit. Kasi nga hindi naman niya alam kung magkano yung total expense na na-incur as this product was produced. Of course, ang nakakaalam lamang niyan is mas nakakaalam is the selling division. Therefore, siya yung magse-set ng lower limit. And hindi niya pwedeng i-set yung lower limit kung magkano lang yung expense na meron. Gaya ng pinag-usapan natin kanina. Kailangan may transfer price. So, magdadagdag siya dyan ng transfer price. Okay? Ayan. And then, kasi upper limit naman, that shall be determined by buying division. So, for example, sabi ni lower limit, ay, dapat ang presyo nito pag binili mo ay, di ba, 10 pesos, Dapat pag binili mo to ay 25 pesos or 20 pesos. Sasabihin niya 20 pesos. Then si upper limit, since siya yung customer, siya yung buying, mas alam naman niya ngayon yung pricing ng ibang nag-o-offer ng same product, for example. Yung mga external player. Sasabihin ni upper limit, ni buying division, ay hindi mo pwedeng ibenta sa akin ng 20 pesos kasi we have, maaring mayroon pa silang ibang supplier na we have known yung iba na supplier ay ang pagbebenta lang nila is let's say 18 pesos lang. Alang mas mataas ka pa nasa same organization tayo. Kaya nga siya kukuha kasi to have yung ating common goal for the business. Bakit ang mahal naman ng sayo? So siya magbibigay ng upper limit. So sabi niya, okay na yan siguro sa 15 para maging competitive. Of course, lagi yung within the company that must be lower doon sa external player. Otherwise, edi doon pa rin kukuha sa labas yung kasamahan mo. Dahil mas mura sila kumpara sa offer mo. And at 15 pesos, for example, nag-meet sila, nakita si selling at nakatipid din si buying. At yun din naman yung isang purpose ng ating ng segments within the organization. Ayan. Okay? Okay. Next type is transfers at the cost to the selling division. So, sabi dyan, many companies set transfer prices at either the variable cost or full, yung absorption cost natin, incurred by the selling division. Ayan. However, there are some drawbacks on this